feel like for a big time college football game against a really, really good team. Looking back at the game that we just played, that was a lot of good film, a lot of good stuff to look at. I'd say the one thing that we didn't necessarily hit on enough after the game was what a great job our special teams did in that game. If you look at the 2 punt returns, those were critical to the success of the team. You look at the 2 punts, we only punted the ball a couple times. The one that changed field position both times, that long punt by Kyle, and then the punt that backed them up by Noah. Both of those were huge plays. Outside kick that we were able to knock out of bounds by Jacob was a big time play in a very tight game. And then a 51-yard field goal by Tyler Luke. So when you look at, we talk so much about offense and defense, I think it's really important just to talk in that pass game. I talked to the team about that yesterday. What a great job our special teams did. Additionally, I think offensively and defensively, we did a nice job moving the ball and did a nice job stopping them when we needed to. And that was a critical part of it. It was a 3 and out in the most critical time of the game. It was a 5.5 minute drive in the most critical part of the game. So all in all, excited about the win against Oregon State. And now it's time to move on and get ready for our next part.
Let's start with Justin and then Jay. When you consider what you guys did on special teams, like you said, I know it's tough to compare it to a 30-point win, but would you say that's probably the most well-rounded performance you got this year?
As a team?
Yeah.
I would say it was a very good team win. I think we talked about that after the game, holding that offense to only 24 points, 7 of which came in a 2-minute drive at the end of the game, which happened too quickly, but they were down 10 at that time. And then the way the special teams played, and I thought offensively, again, it was one of those games, we had 62 plays of offense. There wasn't a ton there. We had 1 turnover, which stopped the drive midfield. We had 3 series the whole game in the first half, the whole first half. And all in all, I thought it was an excellent team win and probably one of the best overall team games. I mean, Washington State was a pretty good one too, though.
And then what's your assessment of Gunnar Maldonado the last few weeks, considering how he started the season?
Yeah, I think Gunnar sometimes got trapped into people thinking he was supposed to be covering somebody he wasn't, or thinking he was supposed to be a play that he really wasn't supposed to be a part of. So he kind of got knocked early. Not rightfully so. I don't think he should have been knocked early like he was. I think he keeps getting better and better and better every single week. A lot of times there's evaluations on guys through, whether it be PFF or others, that you think that, or they think that a play's supposed to be defended by a certain guy, and it's not. So, it is what it is. But in terms of Gunnar, I thought Gunnar, he was the Wildcat of the week for us this week, which means he best exudes everything on and off the field that we're looking for as a player. He'll be in front of me the next tomorrow, I guess it is, for you guys. And I think if you watch the way he's tackling, he had 10 tackles. And the most important part of that is when you're the safety, if you don't tackle him, that means nobody's there. So he did his job. And he does his job each week, practice and games. And really excited to see Gunnar continue to improve.
Jay and then Steve.
Or into that last touchdown drive, what did you see that told you you could run the ball the way you did in that drive? Because we really haven't done that.
Yeah, well, the first half we had 27 plays, I think it was. We had 18 passes and 9 rounds and got ourselves that they played us a little differently than we expected them to in the first half defensively, so we had to adjust to that. It was the way they played their bigs against our 12 personnel group, so we had to change some of our runs at halftime. We had to make some adjustments at halftime, and then in the third quarter, we wound up having just a couple drives, but we felt like the adjustments we were going to make were going to come in handy at the right time. And then I felt as if we got to a point that our runners, we were able to substitute 4 different runners constantly. And when you could give Speedy a couple carries, you give Mike some carries, you got to defend Mike out of the backfield, then you give DJ and Jonah. I think the defensive line could get worn down a little bit. And that's kind of what we felt. And we felt as if, as we kept being patient, when the opportunity presented itself, that it was going to come, and it did.
Either
Yeah, Jedd, when new coaches show up at the program, they talk about culture change. When do you think that officially happened? Maybe last year or year before, whatever. And two, you've talked a lot about confidence the last few weeks. What did that?
Yeah, well, when it comes to culture change, I mean, it starts when you walk in the door and you decide what you want the culture to be like, and then it's a matter of how many players can buy into your culture right away, believe into your culture, and then you've got some attrition that occurs, and sometimes you have addition by subtraction. Other times you have big losses, and you have to be able to overcome those losses in terms of players. What we needed to do is we need to get younger players older. When you get younger players older, then they could start getting the younger players behind them to understand the culture better. We needed people to be a part of, this is 2 or 3 springs prior to the season versus just 1, 3 training camps rather than just 1. All of those things go. Then you get, as our players continue to improve on their fundamentals. A lot of our culture has to do with being fundamentally sound, trusting the process, embracing the grind. That's a lot of what our culture is, loving your teammates. And for that to be the case, that takes time. That doesn't just happen overnight. You have to, the grind is a long period of time. Loving your teammates, you just don't love everybody right away. So we've invested a lot into that. I think that as we continue to grow, it also comes down to how good can we be schematically? Can we continue to improve there? I think we've made a great focus on terms of what we do on offense. We're a good offensive football team, and we're a good defensive football team, and that's part of our culture, being good not just in one phase. So I would say that's really started to happen this year, where we believe that we're a full team rather than just a stats team, where you're just trying to be good in statistics or good in a certain area. You've got to be a good team to be able to overall win. And then I would just, as we continue to grow, I think we'll get better and better and better. And more players will then tell the younger players, this is how we do things. This is how we act. This is how we talk. This is how we practice. And we got to continue that consistent message. Confidence. You get confidence by numerous things. You get confidence by being successful doing things. There was early on, we had to, believe without necessarily have great confidence, right? We had to actually we had to have confidence without evidence is what we told our team a year ago. Now I believe that they see the evidence. They see that we've won 2 out of the last 3 last year. We've won, 5 out of 8 this year. So we're sitting here at 7-4 in their last 11 games. And when you start seeing those fruits of your labor, that's how they get confidence.
It was announced today that Noah Fifita will impactful freshman of the league. Can you just talk about what he's meant to this team and what that means for him to win it a third straight time?
Yeah, the last 3 starts that he's had, he's won it, which is a pretty cool stat in itself. That he's continued to go out there and impress. You look at his numbers. I was just looking at him. He's played 19 quarters of football. He's 76% as a passer. He's thrown 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and those are really good numbers, and I think he's being rewarded for that. You look at, as I've said, you look at the 2 quarterbacks combined. They're sitting there at 20 touchdown passes, 73% completion, 8 interceptions, and over 100 and Jadden's run for 163 yards, and so 225 yards rushing. So. I think both of them have done great this season. Noah certainly has gotten the accolades the last 3 weeks, and that's fantastic for Noah, rightfully so. He deserves it. He's completed over 70% of his passes in each game, and I expect him to continue to get better.
2 questions for you. The first one regarding the sequence at the end of the game. I think you took over with 1:34 left. They had 1 timeout. You ran plays. Do you have a chart or something that shows you exactly like how much time is left, timeouts, whether you need to run plays versus?
Yes. Yeah. So at 1:30 with 1 timeout, you have to run 3 runs. And then there's a chart that kind of tells you as the numbers go, what you can do and how much time you can take. In that case, we wound up having, we ran the ball the 3 times, and then if they measured, they set the clock to 25 seconds. If they didn't measure and they just gave us the first down, the game would have been over. But when they set it to 25 seconds, there was 27 seconds on the game clock, 25 seconds on the play clock. So there was going to be a chance that we were going to have to, with 2 seconds left, it would have been 4th down if they didn't give us that first down where, you could just throw it up in the sky or something like that. But there's a chart that tells us all that.
You want to struggle in pass pro a little bit this past week. What can he learn from watching that tape, especially with some really, really good pass rushers coming in this next week?
Yeah, there was a couple plays that I think he'd like to have back for sure. There was a chance that we had Jacob Cowing down the middle of the field. We got beat on a sack quickly. We need to improve there. A lot of it has to do with down and distance situations. Well, sometimes you have to be aware as a lineman on, are you pass setting like it's 1st and 10 or are you pass setting like it's 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 15? A lot of times on 1st and 10, you're going to run set or short set, so to speak, where it seemed like that's what Jonah did in that play and wound up getting beat on a quick inside move, where if he really was processing that it was 2nd and long, he would not have set like that. I would say that other times you got to understand where your help is coming from. Most of our protections are slide protections, where your help is either coming from the guard to his left or the tackle to a tight end to his right. And, you learn from experience. And he was a guard all of last year. He's been a tackle most of this year, but we've also had him go in a guard. And with reps will come more opportunities for him to really have a better understanding there.
What is it about Malachi Riley and Kevin Green that's allowed them to get bigger roles in the offense?
The way they practice. If you practice well and you practice hard, you're going to keep finding more opportunities. Those guys are practiced really, really well and really, really hard. And if you do that, you should get rewarded for that. And when Jacob Cowing had to get evaluated on a tackle, they took him out, looked at him real quick. While they were looking at him, we put Kevin Green in, and KG made some great plays. One that we're all talking about is a 30-yard play on a choice route. But KG can do all those things. Every chance he's had to go in, he's done a nice job. And then Malachi had a chance for a big play down the field, 40-something yard gain. We were backed up on the -6, and the way he opens up his stride, the way he runs, he's going to be our special player for us here in the not-too-distant future.
So, Jedd, what is it like selling a program, selling that confidence without evidence?
It's not easy, but it's one in which that we worked. We believed 100% in what this program was going to become. We believed in the Tucson community. We believed in the University of Arizona as a coaching staff, and we believed and we saw a vision of what we wanted it to look like. And we spent all of our time selling our vision. And when you sell your vision and you talk through what you want it to look like and what you believe it looking like, we're just getting started. And I know it feels like we've been around for a while, but not really. We're not even, we're barely into 2.5 years. And I think that if we can continue to improve and get better, it's not going to be as hard to sell.
Jedd, 2 questions. In terms of the field goal, you took the 51-yarder with Liv. We've seen you go for it in that situation there. Why was that the right time to maybe give him a chance to kick that at Mike?
Yeah, I asked him how he was feeling pregame. He felt like the ball was coming off his foot really, really well. The air was great. Felt like we had a nice, we're in our home stadium. We have a good little altitude situation, so the ball flies off his foot. And I just felt like in that situation, when he was as confident as he was, I was more confident in his foot than I was in the 4th and 6 call at that time.
Obviously, Noah took 4 sacks in the games. That one in the third quarter was a little bit helter-skelter, but how did you evaluate the sacks?
Yeah, we don't like 4 sacks. 4 sacks is too many. Talk to Noah about that. Certainly the grounding was unnecessary. We didn't need to take that. We just throw the ball away there. 2 of the sacks, I'm not sure there was a way to get out of those in the hard play actions where they kind of beat us one pretty quickly, and the other one, when he stepped up in the pocket, they looped back around. But, the goal here is to not take sacks, and how quickly you can get the ball to your hand and throw with rhythm and timing is really critical. There was a chance that he had an in-cut earlier on in the game. That was the second sack of the game, I think, maybe the first. And that one he's got to let go. You got to let that one rip, and with confidence, I think he will.
Just your thoughts on how Mike Whiting looked overall after being gone, and it seemed like most of the time he was in there, he was on pass plays, and I guess the choice to have him be the guy for those kind of pass plays late in the game.
Yeah, Mike is. I think we all have seen how good Mike is as a pass catcher and as a blitz pickup guy. So I didn't want to play him more than about 10 or 12 plays in the game. This first game back, because you're really never sure exactly how it's going to look. So we kind of had a plan for him. This week I feel much more confident after watching him tiptoe down the sideline and, turn the Jets on a 40-yard completion. Saw him get tackled a couple times around his ankles. Looked like he popped right back up. So we had a plan initially on what we wanted that first game to look like, and now I feel very confident that he can go back to really being able to tote the rock and do all the things needed. Okay.